With San Francisco wrapping up their second win against the New Orleans Saints, arguably the player who stood out the most to me on the offensive side of the ball wasn't Mac Jones, but the rookie Connor Colby. He came in after Ben Bartch left the game with an ankle injury, and honestly, performed better in my opinion. Throughout the game, the former Iowa product was able to show off his relative athleticism score of 9.66, routinely making his way up to the second level, pulling across San Francisco's offensive line, and even setting up some screens. Maybe more importantly to me though, despite being pretty tall coming in at 6'6", weighing 310 pounds, and having short arms, he was pretty dominant in his pass protection throughout this Saints game. So in this video, I wanted to dive a little bit more deeply into Connor Colby's film by examining his strengths as well as his weaknesses to fully understand the guard San Francisco is getting moving forward. Initially to start out, arguably the reason San Francisco and Shanahan drafted Colby was his ability as a run blocker, and one of the things he's really excelled at so far at the NFL level is executing hook blocks at a high level, especially on defensive linemen. To illustrate this point, on this little toss play, San Francisco's offensive linemen are stepping play side, attempting to get up to the second level, with Colby responsible for hook blocking this defensive tackle lined up on his inside shoulder, which is an extremely challenging hook block. But because Colby is able to step at a 45-degree angle and is such an athletic guard, he's able to get there almost immediately on this play, but doesn't stop there as he's also able to show off his insane grip strength, with 92 trying to almost use a hump move to get away from him. Colby though keeps on his block, then flips his hips and gives CMC a clear running lane to run behind. In a similar way on this play, Colby is responsible for hook blocking this defensive tackle with the hope that he can make his way up to the second level. And like we saw in the previous play, Colby once again does a nice job of taking a 45-degree angle step, attacking this defensive lineman, and then once he is able to cut him off from the play and separate him from it, he does a nice job of almost using a hand swipe to disengage from him. Then because of his athleticism, despite going against the defensive back, he's able to engage and actually stops him from making the play on Christian McCaffrey. Another part of his hook blocks I absolutely love, when given the opportunity to finish the block, he's looking to do it. To really illustrate this point, on this play San Francisco once again is running a toss, but this time Colby is responsible for hook blocking this defensive tackle away from him. So he takes a hard step away, starts to flip his hips, established a double underhook, and once he sees him leave his feet, Colby is attacking him and driving him into the ground. And while this cuts off this defensive lineman from making the play on this play, I also think it wears him down as the game goes on, so I really do love this aggression out of Colby. Another underappreciated part of his game in my opinion is just how smart of a football player he is. At Iowa for instance, he played in 50 games, and so far at the NFL level, you can really see that translate. To really illustrate this point, on this play he's tasked with double teaming this defensive tackle up to the second level, and with him identifying this linebacker trying to blow up this play, he quickly disengages, and while this little push may not seem like a lot here, it helps set up Christian McCaffrey's cutback, and he also blocks another linebacker on this play, essentially blocking 3 players by himself here. The final aspect of his run blocking I wanted to touch on before moving on to his pass blocking is his ability to respond laterally, especially with smaller players. On this play for instance, he's tasked with making his way up to the second level, blocking 20, and once he gets there, he's almost using a kick slide to get horizontal with him, and even with Kendrick Bourne disrupting his block on this play, once again he's able to re-establish his block with 20, and overall on this play, you couldn't have asked for more. As great as Colby has been in his run blocking though, arguably where he's impressed me more has been his pass protection. Specifically, he has excellent hands. On this play for example, 91 is attempting to use a double hand swipe to beat Colby, but rather than allowing both of his hands to be driven across his face, he actually pulls back his right side on this play, which allows him to re-establish his base quickly with 91, which you can see right here. And rather than keeping a narrow base, he keeps his base wide, so once 91 decides to transition into a bull rush move, he's able to actually anchor pretty decently on this play. To further illustrate just how elite his hands are for a rookie, on this play going against 93, once again he's facing a double hand swipe. But rather than just re-establishing his base here, he sees he's off balance, so he attacks his left arm with both of his arms as you can see right here, and drives him into the floor. And honestly on this play, 93 probably should have gotten the penalty for hands to the face. Like his run blocking too, Colby showed off great footwork throughout this game in his pass protection, especially with his ability to respond horizontally with defensive linemen. To illustrate this point, on this play, 93 is attempting to use his athleticism to get the best of Colby by first hard stepping to his outside shoulder, getting him to commit there, shooting across his face using a double hand swipe and rip to try to get to Mac Jones. But on this play, pay attention to his footwork. He's sliding as soon as 93 is shooting across his face, and with him trying to drive up the field, he just allows him to go where he wants and takes him outside of his pocket. This, in combination with his hand fighting on this play, allows Mac Jones to get off this pass that would have otherwise potentially been a sack or a bat down. Another part of Colby's pass protection I really enjoyed watching is just the variety of moves he went against in the Saints game and how often he won. Here going against 54 for instance, he's facing a spin move, but once again, because he is such an athletic guard, you're going to have to be a lot more aggressive with your spin than that to actually beat him. The final aspect of Colby's pass protection I wanted to touch on before moving on to his weaknesses is just how consistently he's looking to help out both his center and tackle, which is something Pooney did a lot last year. To really exemplify this point, on this play initially he does an excellent job of disrupting 93's rush with an initial punch, and then he's reading Trent Williams' man, and as soon as he comes open, he's attacking him and actually blocks almost 2 men on this play. As dominant as Connor Colby was in his first outing though, there are some clear areas of concern given the fact that he is a 7th round rookie, with probably the most notable in my opinion being his short arms. They only come in at 32 inches, so sometimes I do think you will see him getting grabby, which may lead to penalties down the line. And another thing I am concerned about in his pass protection is his ability to anchor. Since he is 6'6" and relatively light, only coming in at 310 pounds, shorter defensive linemen may be able to get under his pads and drive him into the backfield. Colby also needs to prove he can hold up strength-wise at the NFL level for an entire season, as well as injury-wise, but granted, he was an extremely healthy college player, playing in 50 games as I mentioned. Overall though, when I'm looking at Connor Colby as a player for San Francisco, I think he has the potential to be their next late round steal. When you're looking at him athleticism wise for instance, he can do everything Shanahan wants out of guard, whether that be pull or set up screens. And so far in his pass protection, he's really impressed me. And it's not like he's just getting lucky out there. He's showing off great hand usage as well as footwork, which will be translatable moving forward. And honestly, I think San Francisco should just move into Connor Colby as their starting guard, given the fact that he's just going to continue to develop. But ultimately, these are just some of my thoughts on Connor Colby's first outing with San Francisco, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Would you like to see San Francisco continue to roll with him once Ben Bartch does return, if he is able to return, or would you rather San Francisco go with the rookie or potentially another player like Drew Moss? It would also mean a ton to me if you did enjoy this video, if you could go ahead and like and subscribe. It truly helps out the channel a ton. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.